Carl Jung once said, "The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parent." But perhaps the same burden now haunts modern men. We carry the unlived lives of generations who never dared to confront the dark, unconscious truths about women. And Jung, he saw what most refused to see. You do not see women as they are. You see them as your soul needs them to be. And what you call love is often just projection wearing perfume. This is not about hate. This is not about blame. It's about awakening to the hidden forces shaping your heartbreaks, your obsessions, your addictions to the feminine. Because until you do, you will remain enslaved to women, thinking it's freedom. Jung taught that every man carries within him an inner feminine, the anima. She is emotion, intuition, sensitivity, soul. But if this force remains unconscious, she hijacks your reality. She is no longer a part of you. She's projected onto every woman you meet. You lock eyes with her, and suddenly, she feels like home. She gets you. You think it's fate. Jung would call it what it truly is, psychic possession. You are not falling in love with her. You are falling into your own unconscious, and the anima whispers, "She will save you. She will complete you. She is different." But it's not her you love. It's your own soul, wandering through the shape of her body. The anima is not evil, but she is powerful, and if left unchecked, she will drag you through madness just to get your attention. Every irrational obsession, every pedestal you place her on, every heartbreak that feels like annihilation, these are her fingerprints. Jung warned, if you do not make her conscious, she becomes autonomous. She becomes the seductress, the fantasy, the siren who lures you into devotion, not by force, but by the absence of wholeness within yourself. You become the moth, she becomes the flame, not because she's divine, but because you have forgotten your own fire. Integration does not begin with rejection. It begins with recognition. When you stop chasing her reflection in women and start dialoguing with your anima, your soul begins to return. You stop seeking salvation in others and start descending into yourself. Only then does love become a conscious choice, not a wound in disguise. If you want to control a man, you don't need chains. Just let him fall in love with his own projection. Most men today are spiritually starved, raised in broken homes by absent fathers and distracted mothers. They were not taught masculinity. They were taught performance, obedience. Pleasing women became survival. So when he meets a seductive woman, he does not see danger. He sees redemption. But behind the fantasy lies manipulation. She gives him validation, then vanishes. She rewards obedience, but punishes strength. She becomes his mirror. And when she pulls away, he falls apart. This is not love. It is a psychic trap. But to the unconscious man, it feels like passion. He does not need to be manipulated. He does it to himself. He silences his truth for her approval, trades authenticity for attention. And the more he sacrifices to please her, the less she respects him. Jung did not call this dynamic evil. He called it inevitable. When a man has not individuated, desperate for something greater, he clings to the first woman who reflects even a flicker of soul. But she is not the salvation. She is the symbol. And symbols are dangerous when misunderstood. She does not even need to try. Her silence torments him. Her validation intoxicates him. Her absence defines him. He is not in love. He is enslaved to the unmet parts of himself. The unconscious feminine has two faces, the nurturing muse and the devouring seductress. One gives life, the other feeds on it. And women, too, are ruled by the unconscious, specifically by the animus, their inner masculine. A woman who has not integrated her animus becomes critical, controlling, emotionally volatile, always craving dominance, yet blaming others when things fall apart. And if you, as a man, are still ruled by your anima, You will be magnetized to this chaos. Why? Because it reflects your oldest wound, the need to be loved by a feminine presence that once rejected you. You will call her difficult. You will call it chemistry. But in truth, you are reenacting your childhood trauma, trying to change the ending. The modern woman who's disconnected from her feminine essence, she is not evil. She is inflamed, taught to worship control, dominance, and independence as replacements for intuition, surrender, and depth. Her animus is not a guide, it is a tyrant. And when this woman meets a man ruled by his anima, they are drawn together like magnets. But it is not love. It is trauma bonding. He sees her fire and calls it strength. She sees his softness and calls it safety. But beneath the attraction lies a war of unmet archetypes. Two broken psyches trying to complete themselves through each other. The only escape? Face yourself. Until she integrates her animus, she will destroy the men who try to save her. And until you integrate your anima, you will run toward women who devour the very soul you have not learned to protect. Jung once said, "What we love in others is what we have not claimed in ourselves." That woman you obsess over, she carries the missing pieces of your soul. Her mystery, your lost direction, her confidence, your buried masculinity, her beauty, your forgotten wholeness. You do not love her. You love the part of yourself she activates. That's why when she leaves, it feels like death. Because you were not dating her. You were dating your lost self. Modern dating has become a cycle of projection. Everyone searching for their fantasy, not their shadow. But you did not meet a person. You met a symbol, and symbols do not text back. Projection feels like destiny, but it's just fantasy fueled by desperation. Jung taught that projection is always unconscious. It happens to you. And because it's so intense, you confuse it with spiritual significance. But it's not connection, it's compensation. You are trying to reclaim the parts of yourself that you've buried in someone else. This is why certain women feel magical, not because they are, but because you've forgotten you are. If you want love, kill the projection. If you want a soul, reclaim your own. Because until you do, every connection will just be another mirror, cracking under the weight of your unmet self. You think it is coincidence, but it is a pattern. You keep attracting women with the same emotional signature: cold, chaotic, affectionate one moment, withdrawn the next. You crave their highs and suffer their lows. Jung would call this a repeating complex, a loop created by unresolved psychic wounds, the absent mother, the emotionally unavailable lover, the shaming teacher. Your conscious mind does not see it, but your unconscious remembers. That's why healthy women bore you. You mistake calm for dullness. You crave emotional chaos because that's what your psyche calls love. You're not cursed. You're uninitiated. You were meant to evolve past these patterns. But instead, you keep dating them in different bodies. Because the feminine you crave is your wound in disguise. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." This is not bad luck. It's a spiritual summons. Stop asking, "Why does this keep happening to me?" And start asking, "What is this trying to show me about myself?" That's when the spell breaks. That's when she stops being your mirror and starts becoming your teacher. The sovereign flame, an anima-driven man, is emotionally reactive, easily seduced, spiritually hollow. He does not lead, he pleads. He does not attract, he adapts. He does not stand, he shifts. This is not a man. This is a plaything for feminine chaos, a soul begging to be filled. He is addicted to romantic highs and crushed by emotional withdrawal. He calls it deep love. Jung calls it archetypal possession. In modern terms, it's a simp with a psychology degree. No woman respects a man like this. She may use him, she may keep him, she may manipulate him, but she will never surrender to him. Why? Because how can a woman surrender to a man who worships her image more than he knows himself? The anima-driven man is not weak. He is unclaimed. He carries fire in his chest, but no direction for the flame. So he lets women shape his worth. He lets their gaze determine his value. He waits for the feminine to crown him whole, never realizing the crown must be forged within. This man lives in spiritual dependency, believing that love will save him, that romance will restore him, that intimacy will quiet the storm inside. But it never does, because he's not chasing her. He's chasing transcendence, and no woman can carry the weight of his unlived soul. Jung saw this clearly. When a man has not been initiated by life, he seeks it through the feminine, but she cannot initiate you. She can only reflect whether you have done the work. Until you stop outsourcing your worth to her approval, you will never become the man she could truly respect. You will remain a shadow orbiting her flame, mistaking heat for love. Here is a brutal truth most men cannot swallow. Women do not desire you. They desire what you awaken in them. It is not about you. It is about what you represent. To an unconscious woman, you are either a projection of her father, a servant to her ego, a threat to her control, or a mirror to her shadow. Most modern women do not want a man. They want an emotional fix, a validation dispenser, a momentary drug to numb their disconnection from their own soul. And if you show up grounded, with real masculinity, awareness, discipline, she will either be terrified of you or transformed by you, but never indifferent. Indifference is a sign you are still orbiting her chaos, still too lost to challenge her unconscious. Female desire is not random. It is symbolic. It is psychic. Women are drawn not to status, but to meaning, and in a spiritually bankrupt world, most men don't offer meaning. They offer performance, compliance, excitement. But a truly integrated man, he does not try to impress her nervous system. He commands her attention with his presence. A woman senses when a man cannot be seduced, when her beauty does not hypnotize him, when her silence does not shake him. That's when something ancient awakens in her. Respect. Desire is not earned by effort. It is evoked through depth. If your presence does not challenge her animus, she will never open to you. She will control you, resent you, outgrow you. But if you confront her unconscious, touch the part of her soul that trembles in your presence, that's when desire becomes devotion. To truly integrate your anima, you must stop chasing women and start facing your soul. You must become dangerous, not violent, not toxic, but sovereign. A man who knows who he is cannot be seduced by beauty. He sees through the illusion. He does not collapse when withdrawn from. He does not beg for attention. He is complete in himself. This kind of man doesn't need the feminine. He chooses her, and women feel that. When a man has integrated his anima, he becomes a threat to the modern dating game. Why? Because he can walk away. Because he cannot be used. Because his love is not for sale. Most women have never met a man like this. He does not orbit her chaos. He sees her not as a savior, not as a goddess, but as a mirror to his own work. He is not driven by wounds pretending to be love. He does not react. He observes. He does not cling. He chooses. He does not perform. He embodies. And to women still ruled by their unconscious animus, this man will seem cold, intimidating, even cruel, because he refuses to play the part they've scripted for him. He does not rescue. He does not submit. He does not beg. He holds center, and by doing so, he disrupts her fantasy, not with anger, but with clarity. He becomes dangerous, not because he harms, but because he cannot be used. His value is not up for debate. His attention is not free. His soul is not available for rent in exchange for validation. This is what Jung meant by integration. The anima is no longer projected outward. She is reclaimed inward. And when a man becomes whole in this way, his presence speaks louder than his words. He no longer seeks love to feel alive. He brings life into love. the mirror, the flame, and the man. Once you reach this level of sovereignty, the entire game changes, because now you're not trying to impress women, you're awakening them. Jung's solution was never to avoid women, it was to withdraw your projection, to see clearly, to reclaim the qualities you cast onto them, and integrate them into your own being. You see beauty in her? Find it in your life. You admire her mystery? Explore your own depths. You crave her emotional intensity? Build that intimacy within yourself. This is what Jung called individuation. The return to wholeness, and only when you become whole can you meet a woman as an equal, not a savior, not a seductress, not a mother, not a muse, but as a person. Only then can love be real. The process of reclaiming your anima is not poetic. It's brutal. It demands that you stop outsourcing your longing and sit with your emotional hunger. Instead of needing her to soothe you, you learn to hold yourself. Instead of needing her eyes to feel worthy, you earn the gaze of your own soul. This is the line between the unconscious man and the integrated one. The unconscious man needs her to feel whole. The integrated man realizes she was never the answer, only the reflection. Jung taught that the inner feminine must be made conscious, not idolized, not suppressed, not chased, not sculpted into fantasies, not drowned in longing, not painted onto strangers' bodies, but brought back into the psyche and honored as your own. Only then can a man walk through the world unshaken, not because he has no emotion, but because his emotions no longer own him. Only then does he stop mistaking lust for love, projection for connection, intensity for intimacy. He becomes so rooted in himself that the only women he allows close are the ones who bring clarity, not confusion. Carl Jung was not giving you dating advice. He was not teaching you how to get the girl. He was trying to help you reclaim your soul. His warning was this: until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Most men are not unlucky in love. They are unconscious. They mistake obsession for connection. They call chaos chemistry. They chase projections and then blame women for the crash. But women were never the problem. Your unconscious is. Until you face that, you will always be ruled by the feminine, but never truly loved by it. The world does not need more men who memorize red flags. It needs men who have the courage to confront the fire inside them without flinching. Men who stop blaming women for storms they've never learned to calm within. Because there is one thing. No dating coach, no algorithm, no podcast can teach shadow work. You don't fix your life by fixing women. You fix your life by integrating the parts of yourself you have spent years projecting onto them. Your chaos, own it. Your longing, explore it. Your heartbreak, let it initiate you. Because Jung's message was never avoid women, it was face yourself so completely that no woman can ever steal your soul again. That's the dark truth. She was never the answer. She was the mirror. And once you finally see that, the spell breaks, the grief begins, the work begins, and the boy inside you dies. Only then can the man emerge, not the man women fantasize about, not the man culture rewards, but the man who walks through the world with unshakable clarity, because he no longer seeks wholeness in her eyes. He found it in his own. This is Carl Jung's dark truth about women. They are not here to complete you. They are here to confront you, to reflect the parts of yourself you have not yet claimed. You don't become a man by seducing women. You become a man by integrating the feminine within. Only then do you stop chasing. Only then do you see clearly. Only then can you love without losing yourself. So if you are tired of the chaos, tired of the heartbreak, tired of the confusion, don't look outward. Look inward, because the woman you have been searching for is buried deep inside the man you have been afraid to become. If this message spoke to your soul, like, share, and subscribe to Cyphera. Your support helps us awaken those still sleepwalking through love and longing, so they too can remember. The path was never about her. It was always you.